I was so distressed to learn that Miss Tiddles has passed over. This is desperate news indeed.
Excuse me, is Mr. Gently in?
Maybe. Then again, he may not be. I'm not in a position to tell. It is not my business to know his whereabouts.
You his secretary?
I'm his ex-secretary.
I think I hear Miss Tiddles meowing in. Now, she calls to you, Mrs. Bluthorpe. She says she's
going to spend his money on stupid, expensive brass plates rather than pay me. Let him. I won't stand for it.
She says she'll be even more at peace when you've paid some bill or other.
I'm paying the phones properly at the club of business. What is fancy brass plates to do with that?
Yes, I'm sure Miss Tiddles will appear, as I'm sure will your checkbook.
Excuse me. I'd like to storm out, please.
Ready. Yes? Yes, Dirk, Gently's Holistic Detective Agency. How can we be of help to you? Yes, that's right, Mrs. Sutherland. Messy divorces aren't actually a particular speciality of ours. Yes, thank you, Mrs. Sutherland. Not quite that messy. Hello? Yes? Yes, Mrs. Rawlinson, I'm very glad you asked that. The term holistic refers to my conviction that what we're dealing with here is the fundamental interconnectedness of all things. I see the solution to each problem as being detectable in the pattern and web of the whole. Let me give you an example. If you go to an acupuncturist with a toothache, he sticks a needle into your thigh. Do you know why he does that, Mrs. Rawlinson? No? Neither do I, Mrs. Rawlinson, but we intend to find out. And a pleasure talking to you, Mrs. Rawlinson. Goodbye. Mrs. Softskind. Good day to you, good day to you. Sadly, no news as yet of young Roderick, but the search is intensifying as we... yes. The bill. I was wondering if you'd received that. Yes, but as I have endeavoured to explain to you over the 7 years of our acquaintance, Mrs. Softskind, I incline to the quantum mechanical view in this matter. My theory is that your cat has not vanished, merely that his waveform has temporarily collapsed and must be restored. Schrödinger, Planck, and so on. Well, perhaps you could run over any areas of the bill that cause you difficulties. No, just the broader areas. Yes, expenses were expensive in the Bahamas, Mrs. Softskind. It is in the nature of expenses to be so, hence the name. Yes, well, I have plotted and triangulated the vectors of the interconnectedness of all things and located them on a beach in the Bahamas, which it is therefore necessary for me to visit from time to time. You sadden me, Mrs. Softskind. Sadden me. I wish I could find it in my heart to say that I find your skepticism rewarding and invigorating, but I cannot. I'm drained by it, Mrs. Softskind. Drained. I think you'll find an item for the bill to that effect. Let me have a look. Yes, here we are. Struggling on in the face of draining skepticism from client. Drinks. £327.50. Yes. Yes. It's... My dear Mrs. Softskind, or may I call you Joyce? Yes, very well. My dear Mrs. Softskind, let me say this. Do not worry yourself about this bill. Do not let it alarm or discomfort you. Do not, I beg you, let it become a source of anxiety to you. Just grit your teeth and pay it. And as always, a pleasure to speak with you, Mrs. Softskind. For now, goodbye. My dear Richard Macduff. Your pizza. Welcome, by the way, to my offices. The light works. Gravity works. Anything else, we just have to take our chances with.